So I was essentially left with one choice and one choice only, and that was to retire the Leica for this trip. Alright, so it's about 6 a.m. here in Hanoi. Just woke up. I'm on the balcony here of the Airbnb because it's actually pretty nice. I actually really love to live somewhere like this one day. Alright, let me try to get through these plants real quick. Alright, so I want to talk about what happened yesterday with the Leica and kind of how everything seemingly unfolded. It was pretty unfortunate, I gotta say. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I am super bummed out by this, but yeah, I mean, you know, we landed yesterday in Ho Chi Minh City, and then I was out in the market taking street photographs of like the fish market and kind of just all the craziness going on. And the thing about Vietnam and a lot of like what Southeast Asia is, there's a lot of like motorcycles, mopeds, scooters, and it's almost like a free-for-all. You kind of just have to walk through it and trust that nobody's gonna hit you. And you know, in the Philippines, it's kind of the same thing. And so I have a thrill when I get into places like this, and it just makes me feel like, you know, I'm one with the people, I'm one at home. But yesterday, I think I was a little too comfortable, and I was weaving through the traffic on the street, and there was a bike that came running past me, and the bike narrowly missed me, but it did hit my camera in front of me because I was holding it out, sort of like how I'm holding the mic. Now, of course, at the same time, for some reason, my hand was placed just right on top of the lens release button on my Leica, and it just so happened by chance that as that bike came and hit the front of my lens, the lens actually flew off my camera, tumbled onto the street, and I literally just looked at the dude and I was like, okay, grabbed my lens, and I was like, oh, everything looks fine, the lens looks fine, aperture blades look good. And I tried to mount it onto my camera, and then it was just no more. So I stepped away from the street, I looked at the camera a little bit, and I realized that the little metal piece inside was bent, and you know, I couldn't mount the lens because of that. It was essentially blocking the flanges on the actual lens to kind of rotate into the camera mount and lock into place. I tried to fix the camera myself. I took any metal piece that I had, tools, I had like tweezers, I had keys. I was trying to look for some pliers, and it just wasn't happening. I tried to push it back into place, but the metal's too stubborn and a little bit too strong. I looked up camera repair shops in Ho Chi Minh City, in Hanoi as well, and there was nothing, absolutely nothing. So I was essentially left with one choice and one choice only. And with heavy hearts, I decided to retire the Leica for this trip. Okay. Now, it was a hard decision to make because I wanted to shoot my entire Vietnam trip mostly on film. Like, yeah, I am here currently working on a camera review as well. But when it comes to the work for my book, I have a very specific standard and set of guidelines that I like to use. And a lot of that really involves just simply shooting film. You know, film is the medium that I've been shooting for like the last 7-8 years. And it's something that I never really stray from. And it really sucks because I, bought over 40 rolls of film to this trip, expecting to shoot all of it, and I shot maybe 2 rolls. But as a photographer and artist, you really have to understand that these things are just tools. And while I would prefer to shoot with my Leica and shoot that film, I also understand that I can use anything to get the job done. And thankfully, I have this camera right here. Man, I really wish I could have shot this on film, but you know what? This will do. So I think one of the struggles with this camera really is trying to find the balance between the highlight and shadow. I've been really trying to nail kind of my simulation, my film simulation for portrait, but I'm having trouble, getting good detail in the shadows, but also retaining the highlights enough to where it doesn't look blown out. So a little trick, something that I've been doing was actually set this highlights here for -1. That's because here in the Vietnam, there's a lot of kind of smog in the air, and it has a really bright highlight tone to it. And then as for shadows, I put it down to -3. And this is going to give me kind of a slide film look. So when I'm in those contrasty scenes, you get these nice deep blacks, and then you get the really nice highlight retention. And then you add a -3 for exposure compensation. And so far, I've found that has been the best. So one thing that surprised me about this camera so far, once you get the colors dialed in, straight out of the camera, the freaking images look amazing. I think when you pair it up with this lens too, this brand new 17mm 1.8 Mark II, thought it wasn't going to be wide enough. Typically I like shooting 28, but man, oh man, absolutely insane. Actually, it might work to our favor. Let's see. It could work to our favor, actually, if we go. People sitting, the people on the stairs, the long dresses. How did it turn out? Not bad, but not good. I think a lot of times what street photography is about is just trying out different compositions. It's not always about finding the most insane scenes, but sometimes it's about finding a good background, finding good color. And then you kind of piece things together from there, right? You got the color, you got the composition, now you wait for the right subjects. You wait for the right moment. If you see lines, you use your geometry. Everything is around you. Everything around you is supposed to help you. Okay, so what was lacking in that picture, in that image, was a lack of foreground. Everything was like two-dimensional. And then sometimes the light just doesn't work, so. All right, good morning, gang. So we are up pretty early in the morning today. The sun hasn't even come up yet. Check this out. Still dark out. All right, but before we head out to go shoot, folks, I want to give a huge thank you and shout out to the sponsor of this portion of the video, which are the good folks over at Squarespace. Squarespace is your all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. Now, one thing that I think every photographer should have in 2025 is their own professional website. And if you're like me and you have no experience designing a website, Squarespace has you covered. You can either choose one of Squarespace's award-winning templates to get your website up and running within minutes, and also with the addition of Squarespace AI, it can help you generate your own personalized website if you want a more tailored experience. One thing that's also very important to me is having an e-commerce shop, and with Squarespace payments, you can pretty much accept almost all forms of payment, making it that much easier to get your work in the hands of your audience. Head over to squarespace.com/KingJapes and enter promo code KingJapes at checkout, and you guys can get 10% off of your first purchase of a domain or a website. Huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this portion of the video. Now, a lot of you guys know that I typically like to look at photo books because they help kind of train the eye to see good images, especially from your favorite photographers. But one thing that you can't really do while you're traveling is bring those super heavy monographs that weigh close to 8 pounds a piece. So my workaround for that is to utilize one of the easiest resources online, and that is YouTube. And this morning, that's essentially what I did. I hopped on YouTube and I looked up Steve McCurry photography, and there was this super long video with just a ton of his images in it, and it just acted as a visual point to prime my eyes for the day. But Steve McCurry's work struck me in such a way because I think street photography, typically sometimes you see it more so done to capture certain emotions like humor, juxtaposition between, happy and sad, things like that. But Steve McCurry wasn't really known as a street photographer. He was known more so as a documentary photographer, I believe, or maybe with my limited knowledge, I know he documented a lot of the war. But there's a certain quality to his work where it shows a sense of reality with what's going on in the world while still using those, basic street photography compositions to create some really stunning work. We're going to be heading out here shortly. We're going to grab some coffee, and while we're out in the streets of Hanoi, which is super hectic, I'm hoping I can utilize what I learned from looking at Steve McCurry's photographs and put that into my own work. One thing that I really love about Vietnam is just the colors. If you look at the colors of the bikes, the generators, the things on the street, look at these bananas. Look how yellow they are. Oh, those aren't even bananas. What is that? What is that? But there's things that you just don't see, all the different colors. Like, look at the buildings in the air. And just like you would see in like New York City, there's stories on every corner, but they're different kind of stories. There's stories of home, there's stories of, the realities of life. But they're also stories of extreme fun as well. What are these guys doing right here? They're like street cleaners, street sweepers, layer it. He's telling them, get out of the way. Are you guys from the States?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Baltimore.
Baltimore?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
what
awesome.
About you?
We're from the Bay Area, California.
Nice.
Yeah.
I go to San Diego a lot for work. So
there you go.
We love California.
With the orange, the leg on there.
LA is one of our favorite cities.
LA's cool. Do you like San Diego better than LA?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. What is that?
Nice. It smells good.
It does smell good. What is that? What do you call that one?
Cake pie.
Oh, okay. Is it good?
Yeah.
Ooh. There's so much going on. It's like you can never get bored in this type of place, You never get bored in these places. Everywhere you go, there's something new. We're cooking. We're cooking. We're cooking. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Guy in the suit. Nice. Oh wow, look at that. Very powerful figure. The way she just walked across the street. Oh my goodness. That was insane. Wow. Very powerful figure.
They always sell meat like out in the street like that.
Wow.
But because to them that means it's fresh. The moment you put it in the fridge, it's not fresh anymore. So they always sell it out on the street.
That makes sense though. You know, the meat is fresh. Different ideologies, you know, different cultures. Look, that place has coffee, beer, and food. Alright, so I'm gonna try to record with my left hand and shoot with my right hand. Oh, cool. Here we go. Check it out. Oh, where'd they go? Oh no. He's taking a dump. That sucks. The dog took a poop. First coffee of the day, some much needed coffee. This is coconut coffee. What did you get? What did you get?
This is the egg coffee.
Show the camera.
Can you,
Oh yeah, put it down. There you go.
Yeah, this is the egg coffee.
Egg coffee.
Yeah, with the considered meal and the coffee in the middle and the egg at the top.
Ooh, it looks good. All right. Cheers. Good.
Good.
But I guess this is the last stop. As we were walking here though, all these little alleyways, as you guys were seeing, had so much energy that I asked if we could just kind of go around, shop around. I think my girl wants to check out these little shops and whatnot, so we're gonna do that. I never really thought that my process in Vietnam would be more so surrounded on not so much the people, but rather the colors. Vietnam has some really interesting color schemes. You know, each of the houses here, they're all vibrant colors. All the different tables on the floor in the front of the stores all have different colors. There's a lot of texture as well, a lot of, you know, insane things going on that typically we don't see in the States. So kind of my goal for today is to explore color, explore the life around the color, and see if I can still combine that human element and kind of draw it all into one. There's so much energy around, you don't really need to look for scenes anymore. There's just an abundance of it. So now it's more so about tapering off and finding that color. So yeah, that's kind of my goal for today. But for now, I'm gonna finish up on this coffee.